It's a Man in Black here, back for another week of 52 weeks of Green Lantern. This is week number 6, and lo and behold, we're not quite going in the same order as last month. I don't know if this is going to continue, but this is the way DC is doing it this month. So our next step is Red Lanterns number 2. Now, bit of a fair warning. Once again, I'll be trying something new with my webcam this week. So I'm getting used to this show. I'm getting used to a webcam, so expect to keep seeing strange things. Now, there's not going to be any odd things over my face or other strange effects this time, but I'm going to be taking a look at my ability to show you the comic without giving you the chance to read the whole comic for free, because I had to pay for it. You have to pay for it if you actually want to read every word of the comic. Now, it's your own prerogative, but I imagine the reason you're here is because you want to know if you want to pay for the comic. I don't think I'm that funny yet. Not unscripted, especially. Well, without further ado, now that I've frightened away half of my audience, let's take a look at this. Here we go. Red Lanterns number 2. Can I do this without screwing the whole thing up? Obviously, they're not trying to give me an easy time of it. So, once again, we start off with the same premise. Atrocitus talking with Krona. And we go on to another story. It seems every issue is going to have a separate story of rage. Now, what the Sinestro Corps did was they had these similar stories, but they were not entire issues. They were stories at the end of issues. Basically, what the Sinestro Corps did, they had the Tales of the Sinestro Corps, and they were sort of put in at the end of other issues. There were, I think, 5 of them altogether. They told the story of Red Lanterns. You know, they were a sort of Tales from the Crypt type of thing, collected into Tales from the Sinestro Corps. It was altogether fairly decent. Not a full-on comic what you'd expect, but it did what it needed to well. Now, for Red Lantern Corps number 2, between number 1 and number 2, it's pretty clear something similar to that's happening. We get a tale, in this case, a war going on. Some child's friends are slaughtered. He gives into rage. Atrocitus shows up. You know, he shows the guy he killed children, kills them. What's most interesting about this is a few things which are kind of failings of this series, and that is, one, it's like I said in the first issue, it's straying far from the premise. It's basically going and saying, I'm different from these Red Lanterns. I'm more contemplative, not as given to rage. Now, there were some things in the beginning of the comic. Let me bring it back to that. Early on, when he's talking to Krona's corpse, he talks a bit about the purity of his rage. That's the red captions up there, but he talks about how to keep his rage strong, what rage is most worthy. So, Atrocitus is already becoming less and less of a Red Lantern. Now, another failing of this is, throughout this whole issue, Tales from the Sinestro Corps, this would have been the example of how a child went on to become an avatar of rage. Would have gone from the small child to become a killer, so on and so forth. Now, Atrocitus does not induct anybody into the Red Lantern Corps in the first 2 issues. So, it kind of gives a whole what's the point thing. You know, it brings us to Atrocitus at the end talking about elevating a Red Lantern to their regular level of intelligence, something that we never even got to hint was possible from the original Rage of the Red Lanterns on through Brightest Day. So, a bit of a change in the lore there. Will it result in a better series? I think it's possible. I think it could introduce some conflict. Otherwise, right now, I'm not really feeling this as a series. I was interested in it from the way they were selling it, but this is becoming farther and farther from the original concept. Yes, it has Atrocitus showing up to enact vengeance, but why aren't the Red Lanterns doing that? They seem to just be standing around waiting for Atrocitus to tell them what to do. So, altogether, this issue is kind of pointless. It's kind of a one-off. Number 3 could start an arc potentially, but there's no proof of that. So I still have hopes for the series, but I don't know. So until next week, when I hit you with Green Lantern number 2, that was week 6 of 52 weeks of Green Lantern for MIBReviews.com. I'll see you guys later. Man in Black, help protecting mankind from the scum of the universe. Man in Black out.